Alright, dear consciousness explorers, welcome to this free workshop today about the mindset. My name is 𝒊𝒏𝒅𝒔𝒆𝒕 and I'm the founder of a training platform called the Astral Projection Accelerator Program, which is a platform, a training program designed to take humans out of body. Now, in today's workshops, we're going to talk about what is the mindset and why is the mindset the most important factor to your astral projection success. What is the wrong versus the right mindset, and how to create that perfect mindset that allows you to have astral projections. So before we start, I would just quickly like to share a clip with my story where you get to understand, why I am teaching astral projection in the first place. It all started when I was a teenager and I saw the movie called The Matrix. This movie was so interesting and made me seriously question my life and my reality. At this time, I was studying electronics and wanted to become an inventor. But after seeing this movie and the impact it had on me, I got very interested in the art of filmmaking and visual effects. So I decided to pursue a career as a visual effects filmmaker. I went to university and got a bachelor's degree in computer graphics, and after many years of working myself up in the industry, I was traveling all over the world, working on TV commercials, TV shows, and Hollywood movies. It felt amazing to work on creating the magic in movies. I got to walk on the streets where The Matrix was filmed and learn from the people who created it. I spent over a decade in the industry learning every aspect of filmmaking and effects while working on movies like Iron Man, Man of Steel, Total Recall, and many, many more. However, as glamorous as it may sound, after a while I felt pretty depressed. Working on the magic in movies made me realize how much magic was missing in my life and in the real world. Life didn't fully make sense to me. Why are we here? What's the point with everything? I had so many fundamental questions which nobody seemed to have the answers to. This existential crisis took me on a spiritual journey of self-discovery, and I became aware of the synchronicities and the repeating numbers that I was seeing, like 1111, 2323, and 555. These synchronicities guided me to underground gatherings and retreats where I learned about the spiritual nature of our universe and astral projection. At first, I was very skeptical because I'm a very rational and scientific type of person, and I never really had any mystical experiences at this point. I was not one of those gifted kids who had spontaneous out-of-body experiences from early childhood, or someone that could see auras or ghosts. And also, I was not practicing any meditation or any other spiritual practices. So I had no expectations. But I kept an open mind and tried the techniques that was given to me. And to my surprise, it worked. After a couple of months of practice, I managed to get out of body and had a personal experience which proved to me that this was much more than just a dream or my imagination. However, I found the astral projection practice to be very confusing and frustrating, because I wasn't sure if I was practicing in the right way or if I was practicing in the wrong way. My success rate was low, and I realized I was not a master at meditation and had a hard time staying focused during the practice, which either meant I was often falling asleep or I was staying awake for hours and nothing would happen. This frustration led me to question whether or not it was my inability to get into the right state, or perhaps the tools and methods that I was using were not effective enough for me. It was at this point I had an idea. What if I could use my technological background and film editing skills to create my own technology and tools to help me get out of body? I immediately started to research and develop tools to help me with the practice, and using the scientific method, I was able to experiment with myself to find the winning ingredients that would solve the main problems that I was facing. And I managed to create a system and a set of tools that helped me to boost my success rates. And the difference was huge. I now had a reliable system that not just worked sometimes, but consistently. This gave me the opportunity to expand my consciousness, explore other reality systems, and connect to my spirit guides, who helped me to get more clarity on my life and purpose. And last but not least, it brought back the magic that I was missing for such a long time in my life and in the world. And I felt like I had to share this magic with the world. People need to know that they are more than their physical bodies and their physical lives, and expand beyond the limitations of the physical world to wake up to their full potential and purpose as multidimensional spiritual beings. So I left the Hollywood movie industry and embarked on a journey of sharing my knowledge and wisdom in helping other people succeed with astral projection. And now I have my own astral projection program teaching people how to get out of their bodies. And I also have a podcast on YouTube where I talk about this fascinating topic with other fellow explorers in order to inspire and to educate the world about astral projection. I've also been featured in mainstream documentaries like on Vice and appeared in podcasts on YouTube. And what I've found after working with people from all over the world is that you don't need to be a gifted child or a master at meditation to get out of body. You only need to understand the science of your body and mind and have the right methods and tools to assist you with the practice. Yes, that's right. And today we're going to focus on one of the puzzle pieces, which is the most important actually, the mindset, right? So what is the mindset? The mindset is basically your beliefs that you have about yourself and the world. It's how you think as a person and how you do things. It's your identity, it's your ego, and this all comes from all your different experiences in life, from past experiences in life, and from the conditioning you've been having from everything around you. You sort of designed this way of thinking throughout life. And of course, this is also a mixture of all the traumas you've had, which is probably one of the most important aspects to why mindset is a difficult thing for a lot of people, because there are things from the past that are still affecting you today that many of them you might not even be aware of, but you notice that you get triggered in these different situations, or you notice that you have difficulties with different things. You might not know why, but usually they're coming from different places from the past, and they're affecting you in the now. And so why is the mindset the most important aspect to this astral projection practice that we're doing? Well, I would say that mindset is the most important aspect to everything that you do in life. It's the driver in the driving seat. If you were to be a car, the driver is the mindset. And the reason why this is so important is because it doesn't matter how good of a method or techniques, soundtracks, technology, like anything that you would use for the astral projection practice, most advanced tools that you might find, doesn't matter what you're using. If your mindset is not in the right place, you just won't be able to get very far. And that's the case, with anything in life. If your mindset isn't in the right place with whatever you're trying to do, it will just not happen. It will just not work. If we take the analogy with the car, if you have an amazing car, like the latest, greatest car, super beautiful, it drives really fast, has amazing capabilities, but you as a driver is sitting in the car, just not capable of driving it, it just doesn't matter how good the car is, right? And so the most important aspect is, because of that, the driver that's sitting in the driver's seat, making sure that that driver is really capable of driving the car that you want to drive. And in this situation, the car you want to drive is the astral projection car, right? And I can often tell by just talking to people, some of my students, if they're going to be successful or a little bit successful or more successful. Like I can usually tell just based on the mindset that they're coming into the program, the way that they're thinking about their ability to succeed, everything around it, like just listening to them speaking about it, even before they even started with doing any of the practices, I can already tell, okay, this student is going to have a lot of success because of their mindset, because of the way they think about themselves, and their ability to be able to do something new, or the ability to do anything. It's just mindset is key. So now that we established that mindset is the most important aspect of this practice or anything else you want to do in life, let's now talk about, what is the right mindset, what is the wrong mindset, and how you can get yourself into the right mindset versus the wrong mindset. So if you look at, for example, challenges, so when there's a challenge that appears with the practice, how do you deal with that? What is your mindset when it comes to challenges? Do you, in the wrong mindset, start making excuses like, oh, well, I know I'm just not the type of person that wakes up in the morning. My work is too intense. I don't know, I have this other things that I need to do and I just don't have time. Or like there are millions of excuses out there that you could choose to identify yourself with when there is a challenge. And that, of course, will take you to not succeed with the practice. And so the right mindset is, when there is a challenge, is to find solutions. Always look for ways to improve the practice. Always think of, okay, there's a challenge here. Maybe it is that you're just unable to fall asleep at night. Well, how can you solve that problem? How can you solve this challenge? So looking at things as challenges that pop up, and then you have to be the one thinking of solutions to solve those challenges. And I would say with the astral projection practice, there's so many challenges that will come as you're practicing. Many. And you have to be in that mindset of always looking for solutions and not just stopping and like, okay, now I'm going to make an excuse because I'm just I just don't know what to do. And I'm just going to come up with an excuse. And in that way, I can excuse myself and I can feel good about not doing the practice. And so always question yourself, is this an excuse I'm making, or is this actually a valid reason why I cannot practice? Because of course, there can be a valid reason as well. But a lot of times you'll catch yourself making excuses. And so the other thing with that is giving up very quickly. So you encounter a challenge and it's a bit difficult now. You have to wake up in the morning, maybe that's a challenge, or whatever it is. And so you try a couple of times and then you're gonna give up, right? Again, wrong mindset. The right mindset is to never give up. Giving up is just not an option. You want to think about it like, you don't just want to try this, because if you try it, then you leave room for failing, right? You want to actually do it, and there's no turning back, right? That's the right mindset. You're gonna do it. You're never gonna give up until you do it, and that force is so much more powerful than, oh, if it gets a little bit difficult, I'm just gonna give up. And again, if you notice, this is something that you probably have seen not just with this practice, but also in other areas of your life. There is a famous saying which goes like this: the way you do one thing, you do everything. So the way you would deal with challenges in other situations will be very similar to how you deal with challenges when it comes to the astral projection practice. And so never give up and always look for solutions. Now let's look at the next part here. So we have outcome dependency. So a lot of people that come to this practice, they focus on the outcome. And I mean, I'm no different. I did the same mistake for years as well. And that just gets you really frustrated, right? And it's the same with everything else in life as well. Like if you're too focused on the outcome and then, you're not seeing that happening fast enough, you become impatient and you get frustrated, right? And so you don't want to focus on the outcome, because then you're too attached to the outcome and you get very frustrated, and the journey is going to be very difficult. Instead, you want to just focus on doing the practice. Just focus on the process. Just focusing on doing your consistent practice on a weekly basis, and results will just come eventually. You don't want to expect it to come straight away. And that leads me to the expectations. So expectations is also key, and you need to manage your expectations, especially when you're doing this practice. And I've noticed that this is a big one for for everybody, and this was definitely a big one for me too. For some reason, we expect that this practice should happen overnight for some reason, or within the first week. Well, other things in life we know takes time. So if we look at, for example, look at the wrong mindset. So expecting to succeed fast and then getting frustrated when nothing is happening and then giving up. That's like the wrong mindset. And the right mindset is understanding that great things take time. You don't go to the gym for 1 week and then expect to get a six-pack. Look yourself in the mirror the next day and you're like, hey, where's my six-pack? What? I went to the gym the whole week and nothing happened? What's going on here? You don't expect that to happen, right? You know that getting muscles or getting good at a sport, that will take time. And so you then chill out. You're like, oh yeah, I started this, new practice, these new sports that I'm doing. And yeah, I'm not going to get like, expert in a week. It's going to take me maybe months, years, most likely, to get really good at it. And it's the same, and needs to be the same thinking about the astral projection practice. Yes, there are people out there on the internet that, that say that you can have an astral projection in the first night and use these 5 techniques to get out of the body tonight and all that. But that's, that's clickbait, right? That's not really the truth, right? However, I would say though that in my program I've had a fair amount of students that have been able to get out of body on their first attempt. But that's not to be expected. That's not the aim. It's not a competition of who gets out first. That's not important. What's really important is that you put in the work and that you get good at this, because it's not about having one experience, it's about having many experiences, it's about developing spiritually, it's about really expanding and getting to that place, right, where you are able to use this as a tool that works for you consistently. And so these things take time. And if you know that, then you can be more playful and you can have fun with the practice, because you don't put that pressure on yourself. And that's the wrong mindset, that you put too much pressure on yourself. You're very tense. It has to happen tonight. I've been practicing for 2 weeks. Tonight it has to be the night. And I know this mindset because I was also in this mindset when I started off. And I think everybody is. It's very common that you come to this practice like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's going to happen tonight. And then it doesn't happen on the first night. It doesn't happen on the second night. It doesn't happen on the first week. It doesn't happen on the second week. And you start to doubt that it will ever happen. And you start to kind of like, oh, Imagine you did that if you went to the gym 2 weeks. And you looked at yourself in the mirror and like, man, where's the six-pack? I went to the gym 2 weeks. No six-pack. Right? It's a bit like that. So be mindful that expectations, manage your expectations with this practice. Super important. And then that takes me to self-love, of course, because when you're not getting what you want, having out of body immediately in the first weeks or so, you start to do what? Well, you start to beat yourself up. You start to go with negative self-talk. Oh man, I'm not good enough. I'm just not good at this. This is not my thing. I just was never good at meditation. And other negative self-talk that just goes on and on and on and on. And so you're beating yourself up basically because you're not succeeding with this, even though you are making progress, but a lot of times you don't see that progress. And so you start to beat yourself up. And that's the wrong mindset. Now, the right mindset is, of course, to treat yourself well. And a good analogy that I used to give out to students is that you want to treat yourself like you would treat somebody that you love that is doing this training, is doing this practice. So if they tried for 2 weeks every day and nothing happened and they just couldn't get out of body, how would you talk to them the next day when you see that they're a little bit down about this situation? Would you go, hey, you did it for 2 weeks and you didn't get out of body? Pfft, what a loser. Try again. What would you say, Obviously, if you love that person, you'll probably say something comforting. You say, hey, don't worry, it will happen. Just take your time. Don't beat yourself up. Be kind to yourself. Just take a couple of days off and then try again later when you feel less emotional about it. And that is so important. Self-love when you're doing this practice. Just pat yourself on the shoulder and just kind of like acknowledge that you are doing something completely new, completely out there for that matter, that takes time. I mean, for some people it can happen on the first night, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want to make it sound like it's such a difficult thing, because it's not. With the right tools and guidance, this is quite easy and it goes quite fast. But you don't want to be in the mindset that it has to happen quickly and it has to happen fast. You want to be in the mindset of, I'm just going to have fun with this, I'm just going to do this practice, and we'll see what happens eventually. And if I just keep going with this, day by day, week by week, month by month, at some point I will start having success. And of course that is true if you are using a proven system. If you're using a system that has proven to work for other people's flutes. Because of course if you maybe find some YouTube video online that tells you a specific technique and you do that every single day and nothing happens, well, there is no guarantee that that method even works. There's no real proof. So you might actually be wasting a lot of time trying something that isn't gonna work, no matter how much you do try that method. So it's very important to be safe and be in a program, in a system that has proven to work for other people, that you can just take on board proven techniques, proven methods, and just do that. And if you do that, and you're in the right mindset that it's going to work eventually, and without putting the pressure on yourself, you will succeed. Another thing I would say about the pressure, especially for astral projection, is pressure is a very detrimental thing. So with other things in life, let's say you have to study for an exam, for example, you can pressure yourself, like, okay, I'm gonna stay up all night, I'm gonna like work really hard at this, really, really hard. Hard is like the word for this. You can succeed with that. You can work really hard and then you get that results that you wanted. However, with the astral projection practice, because you have to be in such a relaxed, such a deep state, if you're tense, if you're like putting a lot of pressure on yourself, you won't be able to relax. You will be like this. Okay, I'm gonna get out of body now, it's gonna work. I'm exaggerating now just to make a point. Of course you don't look like that, but you need to be so much more relaxed. And so usually a lot of stress from life, from work, from other places, will affect your level of the pressure you put on yourself, and will affect how relaxed you are. So you have to be very relaxed. And that's why you have to make sure to take care of yourself and be nourishing, like really take care of yourself. If you did the practice for a few days and you start to feel frustrated, man, just take a day off, take 2 days off until you are in the right mindset, when you're more relaxed, and then try the practice again. Always make sure that your mindset is in the right place, in a relaxed place, in a place where you feel zen, at peace, and not in a rush, stressful place where you think you have to do it now, it has to work now, because that just never works. Another thing that comes to mind is a lot of people say, every time I'm not trying to astral project, I'm able to astral project much easier. But when I'm trying to astral project, it just doesn't work. And that's exactly because of that reason, because when you're really trying, you're usually putting too much pressure. You're trying too hard, you're too tense. And because of that, that will not work, because you have to be so relaxed with this practice. When you're doing the practice, you have to be in such a deep, relaxed state that if you're tensed up, it's just not going to happen. Right, and then a big one here comes in, of course, with the limiting beliefs. Let me make some more space here for that part. Okay, so this one is huge. Limiting beliefs. So what is, first of all, a limiting belief? So a limiting belief can be any belief that you hold about yourself or the world that is in some way limiting you. And even if it's a true belief, it might be something that's actually based on fact, but if it's limiting you, then it's gonna limit you in whatever you want to do. So you want to transform that limiting belief into an empowering belief. And so I've just written down here on this list a few that comes to mind that are just like common astral projection ones. Now, everybody will have their own personal limiting beliefs. Maybe some of these ones here will resonate with you, maybe some will not. But just to get an idea, so what I've done here is basically I've listed all the limiting beliefs, I mean just some of them, some of the basic ones, and then I've just inverted them into in an empowering way. So you what you have to simply do is just define a limiting belief that you have, and then you want to invert that belief and write that down. And so here's a couple. Astral projection is not even possible. Okay, so maybe somebody, I don't think any of you guys have that belief, but let's just say somebody has that belief. How are you going to astral project with that belief? You're just not going to do it, right? It's just, you're not even going to try the practice. I'm not gifted enough. This is one that I used to have in the beginning. I thought I've never had any experiences, I don't see auras or ghosts or anything like that, so this is probably not going to work for me. I'm just not that type of person. So that was my limiting belief that I had in the beginning. I will never succeed with astral projection. And this might be a belief that somebody that's tried this for a few years come to believe after some time, that, man, I've tried this so many times, this will never work. And so they start to believe that, they start to think in that way, that I will never succeed, this is too hard. Astral projection is too hard, that's the next one. Astral projection is, like I said before, is not that hard when you have the right guidance and the right system, but it is hard to do to do on your own. For some people are able to do it on their own, and they're just like, woof, things just work really well. But in general, that can be a very, very problematic belief system, to believe that astral projection is too hard, because then what does that mean? It means that you just will give up pretty quickly because it's too hard, right? So you don't want to have that belief either. What if I cannot return back to my body? That's another that's a fear, obviously. So this is, to me, a limit. A fear is also it's the same thing as a limiting belief. It's believing that you can't return back to your body is a limiting belief. And so what we call them fears, right? So that will be one of them. Or what if my body gets taken? Being possessed, that will be another limiting belief. What if I get hurt when I'm astral projecting? Be another limiting belief, which is also a fear. And so then on the other side, we're just trying to invert the limiting beliefs to the positive. So astral projection is very possible. I am good enough. My astral projection is improving daily. Astral projection gets easier daily. Returning is very easy. I can only access my body, no one else, for example. And I am safe in all my travels. So that's just a way to invert them. And we're going to now talk about how to actually create the perfect mindset for astral projection. And so a few things come to mind. First of all, you need to define your desires. Then you need to transform your limiting beliefs. And you also need to do what I call total astral projection immersion. We're going to go into that. And finally, you could also work with a hypnotherapist to deal with some of the deeper issues. And so let's look at the first part here. So define your desires. And so, if you come into this practice just for fun, then most likely you're not going to get very far, because with the amount of challenges that you usually have to go through, just having the reasoning that is just for fun isn't going to take you very far. So a lot of times, though, people that do think they're just want to do this for fun, if they get deeper with their reasoning, they often find that there is something deeper that's calling them to this practice than just to explore and experience things. There's usually a more deeper aspect to it. Let's go through some of the most common reasons why people come to this practice. And I think for some of you, you're going to resonate with maybe one or maybe multiple of these ones. So one of the first will be reconnecting with deceased loved ones. So somebody that has lost a loved one that is grieving, and they want to reconnect with them to heal that grief and to get some closure and knowing that they're okay. There will be one very strong desire which will motivate you strongly to do a consistent practice and to go through all of the challenges that come with it. Getting answers about life. Where do we come from? Why are we here? And where are we going? Like these existential questions that we all have, and are able to get some answers through astral projection, not just in words, but actually through experiences. And I think this one is a really big one for me as a truth seeker. This is probably one of the main reasons I came to this practice, is to just get a better understanding of what's going on here. Where am I? What is this place? What am I supposed to do here? Like it's a confusing place. We are born here thinking that everything is known, and then we find out that we think our parents know everything about everything when we're small, and then we find out that they have no clue, and nobody has a clue really. And so everyone is living in a confused state, not knowing why we're here, where we're going, or if we're going anywhere after this life. What happens when you die? Like there's so many questions that there's no real answers. And I mean, you can choose to believe in a book, a religion, but then that's just some words on a paper. That's just somebody else's belief that was put onto you. You will then not really be impacted by that very strongly as just a simple belief. But if you can actually have an experience where you can get the answers through an experience, that experience will have so much more impact on your whole being than just believing something that somebody said or somebody wrote in a book. And then of course, connecting with spiritual guides to get guidance about your life. Maybe you have questions about your purpose in life, which of course goes hand in hand with answers about life, but also just getting answers getting guidance on life, getting some sort of understanding of what you should be focusing on. Maybe you're not in the right place, you're not in the right job. Maybe you're supposed to be on a different journey altogether, and that's why things are breaking apart for you and things aren't really working as they should. And I find that to be true a lot of times. I see that in my life. If I'm on the wrong path, usually things just don't work very well. Things just get a lot of problems taking place. When I'm on the right path, things just flow, right? And so consulting with a spiritual guide that can help you with that is very empowering. And then expanding your consciousness, of course, by developing spiritually through this practice. I mean, that's a huge one, and probably one of the biggest reasons why people come to this practice is to expand their consciousness, is to get to the next level in life as a human. And then the last one, experience your spiritual essence. This is probably the one that is closest to my heart. The idea of experiencing what you are beyond this physical body, so that you don't identify yourself with this experience, with this identity you have in this life, but that you can see the bigger picture of what you are beyond this identity and beyond this physical body. And that has a very powerful healing effect on you as a human. And we hear these kind of stories from from astral travelers, and of course from people that have had near-death experiences that come back and they're changed because they saw what it was on the other side. They saw what they were beyond the physical, and that had a tremendous impactful effect on their whole outlook on life and themselves. And so if you have any of these reasons that are on this list, then your motivation is going to be very, very strong. Your desire is going to be very, very, very high. And so you can ask yourself, where are you at on a scale of 1 to 10 with your desire? How important is astral projection for you? And this is something that in my program, we talk about this in the first week, because it's very important to actually define what are your desires. Why are you doing this in the first place? Why are you coming to this program? Why are you coming to learn astral projection? What is the reason behind it? And if you haven't really sat down for a good half an hour, just written down all the reasons, you will most likely not know why you're doing this, and you won't be able to move forward very well. So one of the first things you have to actually do, and you can do this after this workshop, is to just sit down with yourself and write down, why do you want to astral project? What are the reasons to this? Why do you come to this practice? And really go deep with that. You might be surprised what you find there. There might be much more depth to it. Always look for a why as well. So if you stated, for example, that it is because you want to get answers about life, then ask the next question. Why do you want to get answers about life? Oh, it's because that will make me feel more safe, knowing what life is. Then ask yourself the next question. Why would that make you feel more safe, knowing what life is, or whatever? Just keep going with the question, get deeper with yourself, because the deeper you can get, the more clarity you can get on your purpose or your mission or your calling. Why this is important. A lot of times we have this very strong calling that this is important, but we don't fully understand why. We haven't really defined it yet. We haven't downloaded that information yet. So it's really important that you actually sit down with yourself and really meditate on it, really go deep. Okay, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me? Because then later on, once you start with the practice, you want to have this crystal clear, because you're now going to dedicate who knows how many months at this practice. Hopefully not just months, but like a lifetime to it, because that's how you get better and better at this, right? And so you need to know why you're doing this. You need to always know why you're waking up in the morning earlier than other people to practice. Why are you doing this? What is the ultimate goal? What can you reach if you do this? And how much is that worth for you? Is it worth for you that you wake up super early in the morning and you're like maybe a little bit more tired at work? Is it worth that you are up, that you go to sleep earlier and you miss watching that episode on Netflix that you normally would have liked to watch, because you want to get somewhere with this? Really have to define this. And in my program, I ask my students to actually create a vision board to really define their desires, not only in text but also in images, so that they really can, even just by looking at it, manifest that dream version of themselves, or that goal of that they have with the astral projection practice. All right, and now we're actually going to do some work together on your mindset. So make sure that you are in a quiet place where you can do a little meditation, and we're going to go through a couple of steps, and through these steps we can actually going to help you transform some of your limiting beliefs that you might have. And so the process works like this. First, you want to define your limiting beliefs. Then you want to invert limiting beliefs, and then you want to reprogram your beliefs. So if we start with the step 1, define your limiting beliefs. So simply what you have to do right now is just write down on a piece of paper, or maybe you have in front of you your notepad, write down what your limiting belief is. And so we're just going to go with one for the moment. We don't need to write down more than just one. And if one of these ones from this list resonates with you, then just use one of those that is on the list. So let's, in my case, I would have gone with I'm not gifted enough. That will be my limiting belief. And so write that down. Write down what you have as a limiting belief on a piece of paper in front of you. And then step 2 is to simply invert that limiting belief. Just write the opposite in a more empowering way. And so for me, it would have been I am good enough. That will be the inverted one. Now write down what it will be for you to invert your limiting belief. And so right now we're just going to take one of these beliefs that you might hold, and we're just going to work on one. And so the process is you want to actually work on one at a time. And I'm going to show you a very advanced process where you can actually you define your limiting belief, you invert them, and then through this little meditation that we're going to do now, you're going to be able to transform that belief into an empowering belief that you can then have as a new belief. All right, so now it's time for a little meditation. We're going to actually do some work together to shift these this belief that you selected, right? So you selected a little limiting belief, and we're now going to work with that. And the way we're going to do this is that we're going to put the limiting belief in the past, and we're going to put the new belief that we want to have as our new belief. And so the way we're going to word this is we're going to say, in the past, I believed, and so let's say, for example, the one I have chosen, in the past, I believed I'm not gifted enough. And then new belief. But now I believe I am good enough. So that's the two different ones. And we want to go from one to another, but we want to spend enough time on each to really feel that belief. And what happens when you alternate from these two different extremes is that you start to balance them up, the energies, because now you're going to have a lot of energy, being on the limiting side, and you want to balance up and get some equilibrium. And then as you're going through this process, a lot of times what happens is that the new belief becomes even more empowered as you're going through this process. So you might go back and forth from I'm not gifted enough to I'm good enough, and then as you're going back and forth, in the end it transforms, because you'll be saying I'm not gifted enough. You might also think I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not. More thoughts will come attached to that negative belief, and then more thoughts will come attached to that new belief that you'll have. And so at the end of this exercise, you might have the new belief might be I am amazing at doing this practice, or I am really good at astral projection. Astral projection is easy, or something like that. Something like just a much more empowering belief than just the inverted one that you have now. So, and that one is going to sink in much deeper. And so this practice we're going to do now does two things. First thing is going to purge some of those negative emotions that you have attached to your negative limiting belief that you have. And then secondary is going to create a new belief. And we're going to use that new belief in our fourth step, which I'm going to talk to you about soon. And so, okay, I hope you have your limiting belief and your new belief that you want to have in front of you. And so I want you now to just simply close your eyes, and we're going to do this little meditation. We're going to go back and front from these different beliefs, and I want you to feel your limiting belief when I talk about the past belief, and I want you to feel your new belief when I talk about what you believe now. Okay. So just close your eyes, sit straight up, have a good posture. Just get relaxed. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Relax. Okay. So, let's begin. In the past, I believed. Now, focus on your limiting belief. Focus on really feeling your limiting belief. See any images that's coming, any other thoughts. Just really, really go deep into it. Really dramatize it, make it stronger, make it more intense. So in the past, I believed. Really, really feel that negative, limiting belief you have there. Okay, and now we're going to switch to the positive with your new belief. But now, I believe, and your new belief. Really, really feel this new belief. Really feel that, see it, dramatize it, enhance it. But now I believe. And you can repeat this to yourself. But now I believe. Okay, now let's go back to your past belief. In the past, I believed. Really feel this past belief, this limiting belief. Really feel it, really see it, dramatize it. In the past, I believed. Okay, good. Okay, relax, exhale. Now. But now, I believe. Now see your new belief. Feel your new belief. Really feel it, really see it. Dramatize it, enhance it. But now I believe. Okay, good. Okay, now. In the past, I believed. Really, really feel that past belief. You see it, dramatize it, enhance it, really, really strongly. Okay, good. Let go of that. but now I believe. Okay, so focus on your new belief now. Say to yourself, but now I believe. Really feel this new belief. Yeah, feels good. Oh, that's a good belief. Really empowering, really nice. Enhance it, make it stronger, make it vivid. See all the images. Yeah, this feels good. Okay, very good. Now one last time. In the past, I believed. Now feel that old limiting belief you used to have. Really see it for what it was. In the past, I believed. Okay. All right then. And now, okay, relax. Now we're gonna focus on your new belief. So, but now I believe. Say that to yourself. But now I believe. Now really see this new belief evolving into something profound, something powerful, something really empowering. See it, feel it, taste it, smell it. Wow, it's so nice. Whoa, so much better. This is so much better. See this new reality in front of your eyes. See it, how it grows. See how amazing this new reality is. Beautiful, beautiful, very good. So nice. Okay, this is a new belief you have. Just really develop this new belief, enhance it, intensify it. Really see this new belief. Feel all the positive emotions attached to it. Really anchor in this new beautiful belief. Okay, very good, very good. Now you can open your eyes when you're ready. Feels good, doesn't it? It's a new belief there you have, just in front of you. And I want you now to write down this new empowering belief that you have. Because a lot of times it evolved into something more profound, something more empowering. So I want you to write down this new empowered belief that came out of this little exercise that we just did together. Write it down on that paper where you wrote the other two. And so now the next step, the fourth step, is to actually, like I said, write down this new empowering belief. And so in my case, what came out was, I'm very capable of having profound astral projections. So going from I'm good enough to I'm very capable of having profound astral projections. That's quite a transformation that happened for me when I did this process back and forth, just by going really deep with the emotions. So for you, it might have been a different one. It doesn't matter. Everyone has their own personal, words and the way they think. So step 4 is to write down that new empowering belief. Now, step 5 is to create a soundtrack, an affirmation soundtrack with your own voice, stating this new empowering belief. And so what you actually want to do is, if we go back one step here, so what's important is after you've defined your first your first empowered belief, now you want to then repeat this process that we just did with the other limiting beliefs. So you want to take each limiting belief and go through this meditation back and forth until you have transformed that new belief into an empowering belief. So what will happen then is that you will have a list at some point, once you've done this exercise a few times, you'll have a list of all your new empowering beliefs. And that's when you go to step 5. That's when you create this soundtrack with your own voice, or you can also have another voice. In my program, this is something that we do for our students. We actually create these soundtracks for them, so they'll have their customized soundtrack with their voice. And then you listen to this soundtrack daily. And so you listen to this daily so that you program your subconscious mind and your conscious mind, with these new beliefs, with these new empowering beliefs, which will take you to an astral projection, which will take you, and this is something that you can use in any areas of your life. So this can take you to anything. So any limiting belief that you have about any subject, you can use this process to transform that limiting belief into an empowering belief. Then you record a soundtrack with your voice and you listen to this soundtrack every day, and this is how you just reprogram your mind with these new beautiful beliefs that you have established with yourself. And so it's very powerful to do. Just doing this meditation will transform something, but then once you listen to this soundtrack over and over and over again, it will really hit home this new belief system that you want to create and that you have now established for yourself. Very, very powerful, trust me. All right, now let's talk about working with a hypnotherapist. So some of you might know what a hypnotherapist does and how it works, and you maybe even had experiences with them, and some of you might not. I find hypnotherapy to be extremely powerful, and it's something that I've done a lot with my own issues with childhood and limiting beliefs and fears and that kind of stuff. And it's something that I've also recommended to my friends and of course my students. And so in my program, we actually have access to healers and hypnotherapists that know what astral projection is and know exactly what to do to help our students with different blockages that might appear. So sometimes you might know what blockages you have, that some of the issues, and sometimes you don't know, and there's just things that come up as you're doing the practice that you're like, oh man, I didn't know I had this issue, but now I'm feeling this way and that way, and you might not know how to even handle that issue. And that's the perfect time to work with a hypnotherapist that can really help you to find the root cause to where this issue is coming from, find the hidden blocks, and just they're amazing at just transforming you fast. They identify some of the issues you have, maybe really deep into your subconscious that you will never find yourself, and then they can help you transform that. And so just within one session, I've experienced transforming myself many times. And I've also seen it with my students, and friends as well that have tried this. It's just in one session, amazing, profound change. A lot of people think that it's useful to go to a psychologist, but I find that to be just not as effective at all. Psychologists, you go there week by week and you talk to them day by day, and it can take years to shift something. While hypnotherapy, they get straight to the root cause. They get really deep into your subconscious, and they find out where the actual problem is coming from, and then they help you transform that. And it's a beautiful process. It's not invasive like some people think, that they put messages in your mind or something like that. It's a process where they just guide you through specific questions. You answer specific questions. You're aware the whole time. You're not in some trance where you don't remember things and people can put stuff in your mind. It's a very innocent process, and you're in full control the whole time. And so I highly recommend that for people that are struggling with their mindset and they need an extra person to help them with guiding them through that process to heal certain aspect of their mindset. All right, so now finally let's talk about total astral projection immersion. What is that? Well, just like it says, like totally immerse yourself in astral projection. That has a profound effect on succeeding with the practice. I would say this is one of the most powerful way of getting anywhere with this at all. And it's that determination that you're going to do it no matter what happens. And you're gonna put you're gonna put a lot of your focus, or maybe all your focus, into it for a set of months. You're gonna focus on this every day, and you're gonna think about it daily. You're gonna think about how you can improve your practice. You're gonna immerse yourself with your mind, bombard your subconscious with this desire that you're gonna astral project. You're gonna think about astral projecting, how you're gonna do it tonight, how it's gonna feel, how amazing it's gonna be to be able to project. You're gonna think about it on a daily basis. So instead of focusing on 10 other things around your life and being completely distracted with other things, and then at night remembering that, oh, I want to astral project. Instead of doing that, you want to really spend more of your time focusing on the actual astral projection practice. And this is communicating to your subconscious mind that you really want this. This is important to you. And what's going to happen then is that your subconscious mind is going to start helping you achieve these experiences. And I would say that it's impossible to astral project if your subconscious mind isn't on the same page as you. If your subconscious mind is thinking that you're too busy to do other things, it's just not going to use its resources for astral projection. So you need to just really dedicate your time to the practice and your mental space to the practice. And so think about it daily, and also consume inspiring content. That will really help you with that. So maybe you watch movies, or there's not a lot of movies on this topic unfortunately yet, but watch the movies there are on this topic. Read books. The best books I find is the ones that are just kind of sharing different inspiring astral projection stories, like 𝒊𝒏𝒅𝒔𝒆𝒕's books, Multidimensional Man, one of my favorites, and the 𝒊𝒏𝒅𝒔𝒆𝒕's books, like all the famous books out there. Just really read them, really listen to them, and really just start to really get into that mindset of like, this is possible. Astral projection is a thing. Yes, like really bring that into your reality, so that it's in the forefront of your reality, not in the background of your reality. And then of course, what really helps to make that a reality, this new reality that astral projection is a thing and it works and you can do it, is to join a proven astral projection program like mine, of course. This is important that when I'm saying proven, it's important that you actually have some evidence that it works, that you see some sort of testimonials of other people that's been through the program that have managed to have these experiences with that program. What this does is that when you then join this program, you have that confidence. Your mindset is now in the right place because you are confident that this is going to work, because you are in a program that is proven to work. So then you have that mindset that, man, I'm now going to use these tools, this guidance, this system that has worked for other people, and there's proof here, there's proof there, there's proof here, and just being in the program and seeing other students succeed has something that's students have reported to me. It's been very, very helpful for their mindset, because then their confidence goes up in knowing that this is possible, and knowing that it's possible for everybody that is in the program, and they can see it because they see the results. They see people mentioning their out-of-body experiences in our chat groups, in our Facebook groups. They can see what they're describing that they experienced, and they can see which methods they were using. They can see how they did it, and that then creates this new confident belief, and there's new motivation that comes with it, that, oh my God, this person has done it using these tools that I also have, so that means that I can also do it, and that really makes, when you have that belief, and that conviction that it's going to work because it works for other people, that is going to move you forward with a much stronger force than if you're watching some YouTube video online and of somebody that just made a video about this, and you don't know if that's actually going to work. If there's not enough proof about that it's actually going to work. So you don't know if you're wasting your time even trying from the beginning. So the confidence you'll have doing something that is proven to work is extremely helpful for your mindset. Because remember, the mind is the driver, and you want to have a very confident driver that knows that, man, it looks like other people drove down this road and they ended up where they wanted to go. So, I mean, I guess if I also drive the same road, I will get there too. Very logical, right? That's very important for the confidence of the driver to know that that road is proven, that road is working. They're not just going to fall down in some hole somewhere on the way. And on that note, let's now have a look at what has helped some of my students with the Astral Projection practice when it comes to the mindset.
As far as mindsets are concerned, I think one of the best pieces of advice that was given was actually by Florentine. And he said to take your area and make it like a sacred space, or that's the place that you're intending to project from. And for me, that meant like saging the area and some Palo Santo. And I really tried to sanctify it so that it just felt like a holy and sacred space for me. And that was the first night that I was able to project. I think another thing that helps me is to sort of treat it like this is what I'm supposed to do. Like tonight, my job is to do this, is to relax and to, project.
A lot of us, or a lot of the people that have tried, they say, oh, I'll do it tonight. I'm sure I'll do it. But the subconscious programming that we have within ourselves is doubting that we can do that.
Yeah.
We can override our subconscious thoughts and feelings and actions, but the only way to do that is to consciously make the decision that, okay, this is possible. Yeah. And when we show our subconscious selves that, okay, I'm not sad when I try doing this. Look at me, I'm actually being productive. I loved having out-of-body experiences. I love working on this. I love getting the coaching. Then eventually it starts to step out of your way and you become more natural at doing it.
It's important that you break the limitation of your ego, because your ego has known one thing and all your life it's this one reality, and that limits you, that you have to break out of this veil that was in front of you all your life, which is this reality we live in, the 3D world. You have to convince your ego that there is something else that exists, and that's what you want to discover, and the limits have to fall down. You have to break through the veil.
I think the biggest understanding that I got from you is that we are projecting into our bodies as well, and then we can project out as well. If we are already projecting into our bodies, why can't we project wherever we want? So that part really opened my mind. It unlocked something.
When you're in a class, you see that there are other students learning the same thing that you're learning, and they're having success with it. So that definitely puts it into your mind and into your subconscious that this can happen for you as well. If you do the same thing they're doing and they're having success, then you probably will too. And so that was really probably what got it started for me. And then, of course, Florentine's class is very detailed. And he has lots of videos that tell you all about astral projection. He has a formula for how to do it, but he has multiple ways to do it, and he teaches all the different ways to do it. And he allows for time within the program to go through each way and to work on each of those ways at different times during the class. And some people might be more successful with one process than with another process.
All right, so that was some of my lovely students that decided to work with us to be able to succeed with this program and didn't want to do it alone. And that is bringing me to this final thing, which is doing it alone is hard. I personally didn't do this alone either, and I think if I did, I would have probably given up within the first weeks, because my limiting belief of not being gifted enough was quite strong, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do this. I wasn't even sure if this was real when I started, you know. So if I were to have done it alone, I would have probably just given up within the first week. I wouldn't have pushed through because I wouldn't have believed it was really possible. But because I saw other students succeeding, and I had guidance when I was doing this from different teachers, it took a while, but that really helped me to succeed. And I see this with the students I'm working with as well. I have many students that tried to do it on their own for many years and then decided that, you know what, let me just try a program and see if that helps. And then it helped, obviously, and it helped very quickly. And they're like, wow, you know, this is so much more effective than trying to do this on your own, because you're actually getting into a system that works, and you get the guidance, you get your questions answers, and you can focus more of your time on actually getting somewhere without just focusing on falling in that trap of frustration, because that's what happens a lot of times. People practice for months, for years, they get frustrated, and then they give up, and that's pretty sad. I hope none of you guys will ever give up. I hope you will continue to try, and I hope that you guys see the value in investing in a program, investing in coaching, getting somebody that can really help you with this practice, so that you don't have to figure everything out on your own. And I mean, we have enough work to do in life, and to figure everything out just ourselves takes too long time. And I think that when it comes to money, I think the best investment you can do is to invest in your consciousness. That is the best investment. And your time is much more valuable than money. Money is something you can just get back. You know, money just comes back to you. Money comes and goes, right? But time just doesn't come back, right? So if you spend your time trying this over and over and over again on your own, and you can essentially waste years of time, where instead you could have used that to actually get somewhere quickly with this, and then start actually getting to your goals, actually getting your life where you want it to be much, much quicker. And so if this is something that resonates with you and you want to get some help and guidance on your journey on learning astral projection, really mastering this, really being able to do this at will, then I would suggest that you book a discovery call. It's a free call. You can book this call. You can click on the link below this video, and there you'll be able to talk to us. We can talk about all the details that has to do with the practice and how this is going to work. And we'll just see if this is going to work for you and if you are going to work for us, because we don't accept everybody. We just accept people that are the right fit, that feels right for the program, that fits right for us to work together. It's a very personalized coaching system that we have, where we are, meeting the students, and we're really it's all online, so we're not meeting face to face in real life, but it's all online, and where it's a very personalized style of coaching where you get help on a personal level. And so to find out if that's a good fit for you, or if it's a good fit for us, just book a free call and find out. And you can do that below this video. Alright, so we're reaching the end of this workshop, and before we end today, I just really want to just share with you the vision that we have and the vision that we see when it comes to the astral projection practice on an individual level, and also on a collective level, on a planetary level. Astral projection isn't just a tool for doing cool things. Astral projection is something that can really help our human race evolve into a different type of species, a multidimensional conscious species, a species that is able to travel the multiverse and explore and learn and grow. And it's a very powerful tool that if we can actually utilize it on a collective level, we can learn from these other dimensions, and we can really bring that information to the planet, and we can just transform the consciousness of the planet. And so that's done by each and every one of you taking this journey and going through the process of becoming this person that is able to tap into these other dimensions and is able to do this consciously at will, and can then travel and explore and learn and grow, and then bring that knowledge back and then teach other people how to do the same. And as we grow in numbers, as more and more people are able to learn this profound skill and is able to have these profound experiences, and then be able to bring back a deep identity shift. And that is one of the keys, the identity shift of going from being somebody that identifies themselves with their physical body, their physical life as a human, into shifting into somebody that is identifying themselves as this spiritual being that is beyond time and space and beyond fear and limiting beliefs, as we talked about today. And that is a very empowering state to be in, because from that state, the human experience, the human journey isn't that difficult anymore. It's not as, oh my God, this bad thing happened, now my whole world is upside down. No, it's okay, it's just human experience. It's like we look at things, we see things from a broader perspective. We don't look at things like we're in this little bubble of the human experience. We look at things from a wider perspective. And with that comes a lot of healing on a personal level that we have, knowing that the end of this life isn't the end, and that this is just another part of the journey, right? A puzzle piece to the journey. Like having that understanding, it brings a lot of healing to our lives. And knowing that when our loved ones pass on, that they're not gone, and there's this like tragic thing that just happened, and it's just we're gonna suffer for years now. Knowing that that's a cool thing, they just pass on to the next level. It's all good, and it's just a natural part of consciousness to evolve into this other forms. And having that clarity on a personal level is very, very powerful, and that's something I find that it's impossible to get just from just believing in this stuff. It's all about experiencing, having the experience where you have this out-of-body experience where you see that you are more than this physical body. A lot of people experience that their fear of death goes away when they have this. There's many transformative things that happens on a personal level, and then on a collective level there will be a lot of transformation that takes place. Right now we live in a society where we're quite confused about everything, and I would like to see how we are able to, with this practice, be able to gain more knowledge about ourselves, and then learn and grow as a society into the spiritual way of living, into the spiritual way of understanding life and everything around us. And right now I really feel like we're not connected enough to this bigger aspect of consciousness. We're very much locked into a more narrow mindset that we've been conditioned to, of course, by society. And it's really time for us to really awaken ourselves up to our true identity and who we are beyond this physical limitation. And really, I believe that we are here, you guys watching right now, I believe that we are all, us specifically, we're here to really help to awaken people. I think we're light workers, and I think we're here to evolve the human race by bringing these other more empowered states of consciousness, by really awakening the humanity to its full potential, or its greater potential. I think that's why we are here, and I think that's why you guys are drawn to this type of workshops and this information. This is something that you probably feel deeply that this is important, and you want to be a part of it. So definitely be a part of it. Do the practice. Start with this amazing practice and start having astral projections, and share this knowledge, share this vision with the world. And like Robert Monroe mentioned in his book, the humans of the future are astral projectors capable of traveling and exploring the multiverse. And I truly believe that's true. That is the next step in our evolution. As you can see on this image I decided to put here, we can see how our evolution is going in that direction. And many of you probably come to this practice on a journey where you went through a journey of self-discovery, a journey of personal development that then went into spiritual development, which is always the next step, spiritual development. And so with this practice, I believe we can get very far with spiritual development, and we should take this journey, and we should wake up the rest of the human race to take this journey, and we should all just become powerful light beings, Jedi, whatever you want to call them, whatever you call us, all of those thoughts you have about what we can become, we should become. And so with that said, thank you so much for watching. If you feel called to this right now and you want to find out how you can join the program and start working with us, then like I said before, just click the link below and join a discovery call, and we'll just talk about all the details there. And I'm looking forward to see you on the other side. Take care.